What's up, guys and gals? Red Icing Guy back again to talk about Persona 5, specifically the new characters. This video will focus on Makoto, her persona, and some of her backstory. From this, we will make theories and see if anything lines up with previous information. If I make a mistake, point it out immediately so I can make a correction in the annotations. With that said, please leave annotations on in case of my mistakes. Disclaimers need to be said for this video. I am in no way an expert, just a fan and a researcher. I might mispronounce some things as I am not currently fluent in Japanese. Lastly, do not take any of the theories as concrete info. They are theories and need to be mended at one point or another, and I would like some of your input on them if you have the time. With that said, let's look at this queen. Name: Makoto Nijima. Persona: Joanna. Weapons: fist weapons and revolvers. Mask: iron. Makoto Nijima, aka Queen, is the student council president of this game's high school. In fights, rage seems to guide her actions, and in social life we see a softer side. There have been references to her mostly involving Mitsuru, but unlike Mitsuru, Makoto is more emotive and has a more apparent softer side. She strives for achievements with fervor, never allowing difficulty to bother her. Her entry dungeon is the bank, which has become corrupted by the boss of gluttony, Beelzebub. She seems to have a softer side for Futaba, which depicts either the two have had previous friendly run-ins, or that Makoto has a soft spot for those who are bullied or shut-ins. Thanks to all who pointed out her HP, as the tank depiction I mentioned earlier is now skeptical. Her HP is normal, and unless she has high damage resist stats, she seems to be more of a DPS character. She also seems to be a high physical damage character, and her element is currently rumored as nuclear. After the first incident with the coach, Makoto trains her eyes onto the Phantom Thieves. Once she gets involved in the bank dungeon, she eventually joins them. Well, enough with that, let's take a look at her persona. If you haven't seen the character and persona analysis video yet, it would be good for you to know that some aspects of the literary and historical characters are present in the party member's personality. Makoto's persona is Joanna, depicted here as a motorcycle, but she is actually a literary character and a character of legend known as Pope Joan. A lot of you sent me the info that Joanna was the character from Sweeney Todd stories, but the Famitsu interview confirms that it is Pope Joan. A detail that has made me do a lot more research, as there are hundreds of different takes on her story. Pope Joan was a fable from the Middle Ages about a woman who became a pope. She imitated being a man until she reached the top of the papacy. Apparently, she was led on this path by another in some tellings of the story as either a lover or a mentor. She was incredibly smart, as she learned from different teachers around Europe, all the way to the extent that there were none who could surpass her knowledge, only match it on a few occasions. Most of the stories involving Pope Joan end with a scene of her being shamed and or killed after giving birth. A large part of this fable is based around criticism of different popes, as the story would resurface every now and again to make fun of the current pope at the top of the papacy. So what does this mean for Makoto? As her persona story derives from a story about a pope, she may be attached to the priestess arcana with the empress in a close second, even though her outfit doesn't help in this case. While I still need confirmation on Frey Nuclear being related to Megiddo, as the symbol is the same from Megiddo in Persona 4. Nuclear being related to Almighty makes sense in this case, but I will not say that they are the same element, just relatable. Some have also argued that her element is the gravity/shockwave from scenes sharing a similar color to the element within the trailer. But that's on the back burner for now. The literary references have a surprising amount of detail that can relate to Makoto's personality. Makoto is very intelligent and is in a place of authority. The theories involving her story arc may follow such arcs as not being taken seriously as a leader, being shunned by the people who think she is too assuming of her role, having to hide parts of herself to lead, emotional parts, not what you are thinking, perverts, and feeling generally unappreciated for her work, not just in her student council job, but it may affect her home and friend life as well. I still need some more info onto why her persona is a motorcycle, as there are many ways you can go about explaining it within historical text. Okay, with all that, let's look at her Famitsu article. The pictures specifically to get some ideas going. The first pic is of when she first summoned her persona. Notice the chains attached to Joanna. This might represent the ideal of entrapment, stuck in an endless cycle she cannot escape. The next pic displays the scene before the bank boss battle. If you have seen the trailer, there's nothing new here. Another pic is shown here displaying an elevator ride in the bank dungeon, which could display the method of floor progression within the bank. The last pic has a lot of speculation going on about it, as some are rushing to the conclusion that this confirms the old style of social links. The main character and Makoto seem to be hanging out together on a Sunday, but that is it. That's all we could tell. The date up in the corner suggests that this occurs months after the bank dungeon. That is all we can say definitely for now. However, I would like to point out, if you look closely at the main character's bag, you will notice something different. It is zipped up. As Morgana usually goes everywhere with the protagonist, it seems either Morgana is hiding in the bag, or Makoto and the protagonist are truly alone. I know that this isn't Makoto related, but as it is on Makoto's Famitsu scan, I must mention them now or risk forgetting them. These last two pics detail some things from the castle dungeon, the first being a tongue attack from the boss of lust, ew, and the second showing a few weird details. It seems the coach has a power of lust, able to take over the minds of his victims. It's too confusing to see Anne right here enjoying the company of this pervert. Maybe his power resonates within the glowing crown, as it is a dungeon treasure, as seen in this photo. At least we know later, Anne will break free and this guy will get his just desserts. Whether this happens before the boss battle, or is a cutscene in the middle of the dungeon, is unknown yet. One last detail is that Makoto is somehow related to Sai Najima, the detective from the trailers as shown here. What type of familial relation between these two is debatable, since it could be a mother, stepmother, aunt, cousin, or even an older sister. Either way, it seems a sense of authority runs in the family. For the people who are looking forward to romance arcs, I think we can safely say that there will be an awkward meet the family scene. I can't help but think Sai will be important to the story on multiple occasions. The most important thing to finally point out about this pic is it is not Naoto. If you don't want people to scream at you in the comments, stop suggesting it's Naoto. Persona fans will try to ram this photo down your throat, and if it is on a forum, they will not be as kind as they are on this channel. Alright, that's the end of the analysis. I know I didn't translate the text for you. Translating the whole article page would cause this to be a 30-minute video and take 3 times as long to edit, which would be about 18 hours. I want to cover it, but not if that means I have to reduce the amount of different videos I make in a weekend. If I missed anything or made a mistake, feel free to point it out and I'll make a correction in the annotations, and I'll remember the details for future videos. Thanks to the community for helping out not only me, but each other in the comments. It's a great thing to see. If you want me to reply to your comment, type red at the start of it, and I'll get back to you. Again, I cannot think of a closer, so goodbye.